So I know you guys have heard the term a high vibration person, a high vibe person. What does it mean to be a high vibrational person? And I know I use that terminology a lot. I kind of switch it around with like highest good, your best self. But someone once told me that he said, you just vibrate at a higher frequency than most of the world. And that stuck with me. I thought it was such a compliment, even though at the time I didn't fully understand what it meant. So, today's episode, we are going to talk about some of these signs that you might be a high vibrational person and ways to improve if you might not be. So, let's get started. Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson. This podcast is your space, your corner of the world to be messy, creative, and as ambitious as you want to be. I'm incredibly passionate about helping people do what they love and make a living doing it. We all know that this is a messy process, but the messy imperfection is what makes it all so beautiful. I'm here to help you build a community around your brand so that marketing is easy. There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire, in my opinion. We are all in this together. We shine the light on others, focus on leadership, and our theme for 2024 is the 1% adventure, where we are getting 1% better every single day. So let's dive in and get started. All right, let's talk a little bit about this high vibration, high vibe terminology, what it means to be a person of high vibration, and why it's so important, or what it really means, or why do I want to surround myself with high vibrational people? So I mentioned before that someone told me that I vibrate at a higher frequency than most of the planet, and I at the time was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, I thought it meant I was talented, and that's not what it means at all, actually. And I'll share in the show notes. This is episode 139. You'll go to elizabethhenson.co/E139. A really cool picture of what is called like the emotional scale. And basically, the higher you are on this emotional scale, the higher vibrational of a person you are. And essentially, it's your emotions, like you're happy, joyful, grateful, peaceful. It's all these positive emotions that equal a high vibrational person. And then these negative emotions like resentment, anger, bitter, right, are on the low side of the emotional scale. So it is the emotions that determine our vibration, which really simplifies it. It has nothing to do with your skills, your talents, being better than. I used to really shy away from like using the term high vibe, like telling people that I vibrate at a high frequency or explaining to people that I only wanted to be around people that vibrate at a high frequency. I really shied away from that because I thought it came across like I'm better than, or like a better than, worse than, or I'm looking down upon people who I don't consider to be a high vibrational frequency. And that's just not true. And the emotional scale visual just really like makes that very clear, that it has nothing to do with your actual qualities or talents as a human being, and just everything to do with your emotions, your emotional state the majority of the time. And we're all going to go up and down on this scale. We're all going to have good days. We're all going to have bad days. But when I think of someone who vibrates at a high frequency, they're spending the most time possible at the top of that scale. That's all it means. It means I'm spending as much time as I possibly can feeling peaceful, feeling joyful, feeling happy, feeling all of these positive emotions. Okay. So, if you're not really sure where you fall on that emotional scale, let's talk about some of the ways to recognize if you are a high vibrational person. So, emotions like fear and shame are lower vibrational. Love, happiness is high. So, some signs that you might be of higher vibration is you're empathetic and compassionate. You're generous, you love to give and help. You might find yourself being very positive, a positive poly or an optimistic person. I have always been positive and optimistic. It's just kind of my nature. It's who I am. Before I even started this self-development journey, I was a very positive person, but now I can just identify it as, so much more than that. You feel good, right? Like when we feel good, we have happier emotions. So our physical health can be tied to our emotional state of being. That's why it's so important to take care of ourselves. Maybe you don't hold on to things, like you're not a grudge holder. You can be more forgiving. That is a high vibe characteristic, that you have the ability to forgive people and move on and not hang on to stuff. Like the other day in my gratitude journal, I wrote down that I'm just like really thankful that I don't hang on to negative thoughts about people. Like I just don't hang on to it. I don't stay there. Sure, I'm human, so I have the thoughts. I just don't let myself stay there. Um, High vibrational people usually have really good boundaries. And I always like say it's on me, it's not on them. So let's talk about like sticky clients, right? I actually don't have a problem with clients overstepping boundaries. I just don't, because I am the one in charge of my boundaries. That's not on them, it's on me. So if my phone rings at 9 p.m. and I don't want to answer it, I just don't answer it. I don't make it a thing of like, oh my God, somebody called me at 9 p.m., right? Like it's just not a thing, because I've set those boundaries and expectations. I just don't attract people that break boundaries. Like it's just not rocket science. Um, so high vibe people usually just have really healthy boundaries, and they don't have to spend a lot of time um, worrying about their boundaries, right? Maybe if you're really good at manifesting things, we'll say this is where I'm still working. I'm still a work in progress on this, but you understand that high vibe thoughts attract high vibe things. You have some type of practice around mindfulness. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's meditation, uh, practicing silence. I'm a big believer in the power of silence. So, practicing those things on a regular basis is probably a sign that you're a high vibe person. You have good intuition. I've always kind of thought I had really creepily good intuition. I am kind of just scratching the surface and learning how to better utilize that in my self-development journey. Um, but trust your intuition. Maybe it's not just having good intuition, but trusting your intuition is a characteristic of a high vibe person. Taking care of yourself, putting yourself first, having an exercise routine, connecting with nature can be a sign of being slightly high vibrational. You're careful about what you consume, right? Not consuming the news all the time, or things that have negative energy. And again, like nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to only consume positive and perfectly influential stuff. Like we're all human beings. We all like a little drama. We all like a little garbage, right? But just really keeping that in check. It's a trend that high vibe people tend to consume more productive and positive things in the media and their socials, their TV, movies, etc. People trust you. People trust you and they gravitate towards you. That is a sign of being a high vibrational person. And looking at those around us, you guys, know that I believe that we are the average of the 5 people that we hang out with the most. So do an audit of your people. Are they high vibe? Are they like in the top of that emotional scale the majority of the time, right? Or a lot of the time, or the same amount as you? We can learn so much about ourselves by really assessing those around us. Okay, let's talk a little bit about lower vibe, right? Um, if you are experiencing a feeling of being stuck, um, maybe you focus on everything that you don't have. Some people call that a lack mindset or scarcity mindset. Um, Instead of being grateful for all the things that you do have, that is definitely a low vibe characteristic. You have a hard time putting yourself in others' shoes or experiencing empathy. Maybe you're very hard on yourself. We're all a little bit guilty there, but the way you talk to yourself is so incredibly important. And lower vibrational people are very mean to themselves and they just think it's normal, right? And again, this is not a better than, worse than. This is a vibrational state. This is energy. This is emotion. And if I am constantly saying, I'm not smart, I'm not good at this, like, can you imagine if I got on the podcast and just was like, you guys, I'm really not good at this whole business thing, or I'm really not smart, or gosh, like I need to lose weight. I'm so bleh, right? Like I know that that's relatable, but would that be something you want to listen to, that you want to consume? Like, no, you can get that with yourself. You can get that. I'm sure you know people in your life that vibrate at a lower frequency that you can get that type of energy. And we're all guilty of it. Like, I know that when I'm surrounded by people who find humor and self deprecation, I tend to do it too. And I mean, I remember being pregnant with Maddie and I had this like nervous habit almost of like my pregnant insecurities. Like I would just laugh and make fun of them. Like I would just constantly bring up how the doctors told me I needed to lose weight. Like I don't know why I felt the need to share that. And I don't know why. Yeah. Like I don't know why I was vibrating at such a low frequency to feel like I needed to talk badly about myself and about my experience at the doctor in order to connect with other people. I don't know. Right. I mean, I do see trends now and like the people I was surrounding myself with, there's a reason I was comfortable doing that. Right. But this version of myself just wouldn't waste my time and energy talking so badly about myself. So anyway, being unhappy in relationships or, you know, having an unhealthy relationship with food or alcohol or your physical health, these are all signs of a lower vibration. And again, it's not like that you do the unhealthy things, it's your relationship with the unhealthy things. So I told you I would touch on a couple ways to raise your vibrational frequency. And of course, the 1% adventure, if you go back to episode 137, the first episode of 2024, this is an amazing way to raise your vibrational frequency to think about getting 1% better every day. And I broke this down into 4 things that you can do, or just pick one each day. You can go back to 137 and listen to that. You can find some way to practice just mindfulness, silence, acceptance. This is all practice. This isn't something that's going to change overnight. You're not going to go from constantly being in a state of shame to constantly being in a state of joy overnight. It takes practice and self-care, right? Putting yourself first, which I recently, shared my health journey in 2023, and that was taking my self priority to a whole nother level, to be able to commit to exercising regardless of what's going on with my family, to go see a functional medicine doctor, to do these things. is all part of raising my vibrational frequency. And at the time, it wasn't intentional, but I saw that as a byproduct of taking better care of myself. Thinking positive, choosing thoughts that feed the future that you want to create. That is one of the most powerful things that my business coach worked with me on, is just, waking up every day and choosing thoughts that manifest or create the reality that I want. And if you're one of the naysayers and you don't believe, like, what is it hurting to believe? What is it hurting to just assume if I just think better, kinder things to myself, they could come true, right? Like, there are plenty of, people out there that are not smart, that make tons of money. They're, are not good at their job, that are successful. Then there are plenty of people who are amazingly talented, who are poor or don't make money or are not successful. And it's all because of their belief in self. It all boils down to that. So thinking good, productive thoughts, practicing gratitude. I know we talk about that a lot and it's kind of repetitive, but it is true. Allowing yourself exploration. That is one of the points in the 1% adventure. Like, allowing yourself to explore what it looks like to practice wellness, allowing yourself to explore higher powers of any kind, and taking care of yourself with food, with diet, with health, not being perfect, but just taking care of yourself. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, surrounding yourself with people who vibrate higher than you will naturally raise your vibrational frequency. So that is what that means. It is not a better than or worse than, or successful people versus not successful people. It is literally just your emotional state and your way of being that helps you maintain a higher vibration, as well as just be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's what it's all about, right? It's not about being amazing. It's just, let's just be our best. And some days that's going to be 60%. And some days that's going to be 90%. And some days we're going to crush it. And some days we're not. But as long as we are practicing these beliefs and these emotional states, you will see the things around you begin to change. So thank you so much for joining me today. We are trying out some new tech, so I'm excited to get this episode uploaded and see how we like everything. Don't forget to check out our in-person event that is happening in April. We will put all of that in the show notes. Again, this is episode 139, elizabethhenson.co/E139. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you and love you. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend or leave us a review on iTunes. And I am sending you all the positive vibes today, my friend.